Years ago, this place had been Zayan's home, a term he had used reluctantly, even as a child. Orphaned at the age of 6, he had been taken in by the local orphanage, a gray, crumbling building on the edge of town, where kindness was as scarce as the funding to maintain it. The townsfolk had called him unlucky, cursed even, whispering that the boy brought misfortune wherever he went. They shunned him, denying him affection, opportunity, or even a place at their dinner tables during festivals. Memories of hungry nights, icy winters spent in threadbare blankets, and the cold, judgmental stares haunted Zayan even as he left the town at the tender age of 8, clutching a small satchel of his belongings. He had walked for days, hoping to find refuge somewhere, anywhere that didn't see him as a pariah. That journey, full of hunger and heartache, eventually led him to the bustling city of Roaston, where a kindly old carpenter named Umar found him sleeping in an alley. Umar, a widower with no children of his own, took Zayan under his wing, teaching him the art of woodworking, construction, and the value of hard work. Through the years, Zayan grew strong, skilled, and resilient, transforming into a man whose hands could build anything he envisioned and whose heart carried a fierce determination to rise above his painful beginnings. Now, over 2 decades later, Zayan returned to the town he once called home, but this time he was unrecognizable. He was no longer the frail, frightened boy who had left in desperation. Clad in a simple yet neatly tailored outfit, his strong frame and calm demeanor exuded confidence and purpose. His arrival caused a stir among the villagers, who whispered about the stranger walking down their streets, until recognition slowly dawned upon them. Some turned away in shame, others stared, unsure of how to react. But Zayan paid no attention to their murmurs. His focus was elsewhere. The town had changed little in his absence. If anything, it had deteriorated further. The orphanage where he had spent his childhood now stood abandoned, its windows shattered and walls crumbling. The school was in no better condition, and the once thriving marketplace was eerily quiet, with many shops boarded up. Zayan felt a pang of sorrow as he walked through the streets, his eyes scanning the familiar, yet desolate, surroundings. It wasn't bitterness that filled him, but a sense of purpose, a calling to rebuild, to give this town and its people the hope they had once denied him. Over the next few days, Zayan purchased a large piece of land near the orphanage and began his work. He poured his entire savings into the project, hiring local workers who were struggling to make ends meet. At first, the townsfolk were skeptical, dismissing his efforts as a display of wealth or a ploy for revenge. Some even tried to discourage him, recalling the superstitions that had once plagued his name. But Zayan remained steadfast, working tirelessly from dawn to dusk, sketching blueprints, hauling materials, and guiding his team with a quiet yet firm leadership. As the structure began to take shape, curiosity replaced doubt. Children gathered around the site, watching in awe as walls rose and intricate carvings adorned the wood. Zayan welcomed their presence, often pausing to share stories, teach them small tasks, or simply listen to their laughter, a sound that had been absent from this part of town for far too long. Slowly, the mood began to shift. The workers, inspired by Zayan's dedication, found renewed pride in their craft. The townsfolk, too, began to soften, their resentment giving way to admiration and guilt. Months passed, and the once vacant land transformed into something extraordinary. What Zayan built was not just a building, it was a sanctuary, a beacon of hope for the town. The grand structure, unveiled amidst a gathering of townsfolk, was a community center unlike anything they had ever seen. It housed a library filled with books for children hungry for knowledge, a school with bright classrooms and sturdy desks, a spacious playground where laughter could echo once again, and a shelter for orphans, ensuring no child would ever face the isolation Zayan had endured. The centerpiece of the building was a towering wooden arch, intricately carved with scenes of unity and resilience, bearing an inscription that read, "To the children who deserve love, and to the town that needed hope." As the townspeople stood in awe, many wept openly, overcome with emotion. They saw not just a building but a testament to Zayan's forgiveness, strength, and unwavering belief in kindness despite the cruelty he had faced. In the days that followed, Zayan's community center became the heart of the town. Children flocked to the library and playground, their laughter breathing life back into the area. Parents, inspired by Zayan's story, volunteered their time to teach, clean, and maintain the space. The once divided community began to come together, united by a shared sense of gratitude and responsibility. Zayan, ever humble, continued his work quietly, teaching carpentry to a group of young apprentices, just as Umar had once taught him. One evening, as the sun set over the town, painting the sky in hues of orange and gold, an elderly man approached Zayan with trembling hands and tear-filled eyes. It was the same man who had once turned him away on a stormy night, refusing to offer him shelter. "I'm sorry," the man whispered, his voice breaking. Zayan smiled gently, placing a reassuring hand on the man's shoulder. "It's never too late to change," he said, his voice steady and full of compassion. The story of Zayan and his community center spread far beyond the town, inspiring neighboring villages and even drawing visitors who came to witness the remarkable transformation. But for Zayan, the true reward lay in the smiles of the children who played in the playground, the warmth of the community that had once rejected him, and the knowledge that he had turned his pain into something beautiful. As he stood in the center of it all, watching life bloom around him, he felt a sense of peace he had never known.